Well, here we are in the middle of winter, wherever you are in the country. It is still winter, whether you're still having year-round good weather or you're having snow as we're having out here in the Northeast. Winter is winter. The primal self knows that. And in that way, it goes through it follows its natural instincts. The natural instinct in this season is to hibernate. This is a season where the flows of life are more quiet. They're less visible. They're less active. And that is because Pachamama herself, Mother Earth herself, and even beyond, is preparing itself. It's letting what was old die off and pass on. It's clearing the ground, if you will, preparing the soil, the ground itself, so that the land will be seeded in the spring, those new seeds. So how does that apply to human life? Well, as above, so below. As above, so below. So that's happening within us too. This is why we can feel the desire, the need, want to rest more, sleep more, eat more, go within more. Irregardless of what we're doing in our lives internally, that's what's happening. So here is a time where we can have a good look at what's going inside. What's the inner world of each of us doing? When we feel that need to sleep, then we should do that. We need to rest, we should do that. Now, how do you do that in your everyday work, your everyday life? You're at work, you're at school, you're at whatever you're doing. How is it that you can just go lay down? You can just go rest? No. Very often you can't do that. Not outwardly, but within inside you can rest. Wherever you are, you can always center, ground, and in that way you are going within to that place of stillness, that center of stillness, where you are at peace. And in that way, that brings the body into a restful state. So even though you're working, you're doing whatever you're doing, it can be during that time when you're doing that to just be quiet as well as you can. Even though there's people around you talking and all of that, there is in that place of stillness that rest that comes without having to interact with others, or needing to, when that needs to do so, to do it in a quiet way. And in that way, let it be that way. Quiet, restful. So, this is what you do. Center and ground. And in that way, you are hibernating in that same way as you're being active. Now, when you get to a place, you return home, or you're at some place where you can now unplug, so to speak, now you can get that rest. You can get that quiet. You can get that sleep. And it may be that you feel like you want to eat more. Well, that's part of hibernation, because you see the body is building itself, replenishing itself, preparing again that ground for what's going to be planted there, the seeds that will be rooted within it. So you are nurturing, you are strengthening, you're putting revitalizing energy, and you're helping your physical body to replenish itself. And by doing that, That's where the food comes in. Now, this is where to be even more vigilant about what you do eat. The body, as we well know, will whine and complain and wants what it wants right now and throw tantrums if it doesn't get it, or to try to convince you with so-called justifiable reasons why you should eat everything that you know isn't good for you to eat. Okay. Folks, we all need soul food sometimes. So sometimes we need that bag of chips. Sometimes we need those cookies. We need that ice cream, those fries, or whatever it is your particular soul food is. And you know you take that. Just don't make it a regular part of your diet. That's the thing. So when you get hungry, eat something that's filled with nutrition, with protein, not empty calories. Because, and we all know that. We get a little hungry, and so we run for something that we shouldn't eat, and we eat it anyway, and we're still hungry. So now we're going to go for another thing that we don't eat, and it goes on, because it's all empty. There's no nutrition in it. So it may, in the moment, fill that need to eat something, but if you make better choices about that, then you can do that, and you're actually going to find that your body feels much more rested and replenished by taking that moment to eat something that makes sense. Okay? So using this time to go within, reflect in this hibernation. What is it that you have wanted to do and you just never got around to doing it? What is there too much on your plate? Is there not enough on your plate? If there's too much on your plate, have a look at that. How much can be removed? How much is really necessary? What is necessity? What is essential? And what isn't? Shift things around. Maybe some things that you have been making priorities really don't have to be. Shift it around. And you do this consciously, because each and every one of us who are here together in this call this evening are conscious. And we do know how to do that. To just be aware by the feel, the perception, the perceptual ping that says the thing is intact or it is not. Does it feel weighty? Does it feel chaotic? Does it feel like there's a lot of chatter and rambling around it? Okay, then you know it's your lower self trying to convince you, oh no, you have to keep that up on the high priorities. In that moment, have a real good look instantly and see it for what it is. Very likely you're going to just see that it's something of the lower self wanting to keep you safe in that illusion of safety. Okay, when you know that, you can just tell your lower self, step aside, I got this. And you will see that you're going to have a lot more time than you thought you did. More time than you ever thought was possible. And that way, you'll have the time to really know what really has to be done and what really doesn't need such attention. And that will make a difference. And you will be cleaning your ground, so to speak, so that when it comes time to put those new seeds of life in your ground, in your garden, that ground will be clean, ready. It won't be all cluttered with the many things that really weren't necessary at all, or the things that don't have to be put right at the top of the list. So your garden will grow in a way that brings pulsing vitality, but in a way of order that doesn't restrict its movement. Just as a relay is. In relay A, it jumps to B, to C, to D, to E. And in that way, that flow is smooth. It's intact. There's nothing that gets in its way. It's simple. But if there's a lot around A and there's a lot around B and C, it may have to jump from A to C to come back to B and maybe jump up to F because there's no straight movement. So if you can look at that, perceive what happens. That may be more simple for you to realize how it is you can bring order to your life, to your garden. And this is why, being in the hibernation mode that we are, we're being given the gift of looking within, going into our own personal caves and seeing what's there. So this is a wonderful time to prepare. So let's have a look at that. We will do a little journey, so perhaps you can see just what is there. We're going to do that in a little bit, but I'm going to ask you to open the calls again, Joseph, because let's hear what any of you have come to. What did you hear when all that was said? What did you perceive? What are you seeing now within your life? So you can open the phones, Joseph.
Well, they are open.
Okay. How about any of you? Anything? What was the insight you got from that? What did you see? Anybody?
Well, I heard that. Sorry, I'm on my cell phone. It's always. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay.
You're fine.
Okay, good. I heard that we pay attention to our body and rest more and go within and eat, healthy to the extent that you can pass up the cupcakes. And then, for me, to figure out, what I can get rid of in my life that I don't need, whether it's thoughts that aren't helping me, self criticisms and things like that, and lay the ground for the new spring, for better harvest, things like that. And
what do you know about you, though? What do you know? What did it, for you, Susan, or any of you, what did it tweak? What did it give you a little ping that said, oh, yeah, now I'm seeing this through the eyes of my higher perceptual primal self. I see this now. What I thought was a priority, what I felt was so essential and necessary, I can see really it wasn't. It was a distraction, it filled up time, whatever it was, but it really is not a priority. Yeah. Anybody?
Well, I think for now I'm relearning or learning a new balance between what I call the human being and the human doing. I think you made a good point. Thank you. You made a good point about the chatty ego.
Mm-hmm.
Having to do more to justify my worth, and I think I'm it's hard to explain exactly, but it's just what you said more about resting more, because I have the opportunity to rest more when I need to rest. My time is basically my own, for the most part. So it's a pretty nice place to be. I mean, I do have a part-time job, but as you said, I can kind of observe my energy and observe where I am in relation to everybody else, and not get caught up in the drama, which can be pretty easy to do, I guess. So, but again, I'm learning every day a new way of being, and it's hard for me to describe exactly, but it's just trusting that process.
Well, you see, that's exactly it. When a person wakes up and becomes even more conscious, this is known without words, known but not told. This is just simply perceived. This is the energetic the guidance itself, that sacred guidance coming through you. There's no word you can put to it. You just know it. It's intact. The best way we can say this is we know when something is intact and when it is not. Yes, it is so. It is intact. No, it isn't. That's all. You know? So we get to a point where the act of doing becomes the state of being. There's no longer any thought needed for it. It just simply is. It's as natural as breathing. So this is the time in hibernation that we can look to within ourselves. Where is this all within ourselves? What can we do? Is it present? Perhaps it can be nurtured some more. Maybe that part of the garden is fine. That's growing strong and well. But this section of the garden needs some help. And so that's very important to look at it that way, to know it. Yes, very good. How about anyone else? As even now, as you're perceiving what's within you, what's coming to you? What are you coming to see that by this quiet, still reflection within, don't have to plant my garden that way anymore. Don't have to do it that way. Yeah. Excellent. So we're going to take a little journey so that you can have a look to just see what it is that has been planted in your garden that you now can see doesn't have to go in this year's garden or ever again, for that matter. What did it teach you? Because you see, everything that went into the garden did teach you something. It did give you something. You did gain. So there's anything that comes out of your garden, as it comes out, let it come out with love and with compassion and with gratitude. No anger, no fear, no resentment or any of that stuff, but rather just simply, it's clear. Wow, now I know why that had to happen, because I see what its source was, what its seed was, what I have now I see it for what it is. That happened because now I know what compassion means. Now I know whatever it is that you gained, the gift it truly was, now you know what it is. Because, folks, in the moment that you remove something from yourself or take something from yourself that no longer serves, if you do it in anger, emotion-laden anger, fear in that way, resentment, any of those heavy, story-laden emotions, if you do it in that way, it's only going to come back to you because you never let it go. Because there's been a personal hook. It became a personal engagement. It became all about you. And in the moment anything becomes personal, you have engaged it. That is to say, when things happen, any situation happens, you have to look at it. Sure, you do have to look at it, but you come to look at it in a different way. Not as, well, he did this, so you did that, and she did that, and then they did this. Not that way, but rather, I see this now. This happened. I see it. Is there any part of it that is mine? And you have to look at that. because that can be the very wisp that can cause your garden's roots to tangle and not grow at all, or become not the full, strong plants of wisdom and knowledge it can be, but rather, okay, I see this. I know that all this part is not mine, so I return it to the sender with love and gratitude and compassion, because now I see it for what it is. But this little teeny dangler, this little wisp is mine. So when you take that tendril, you look at it and you see it in that way again, perceive it. And in that way, it transforms. You extract from it the gift that it is and let the shell, the story of it, go. And in that way, engagements become a whole lot simpler. You don't get all tangled up again. And as you are now preparing the ground for the new garden within you, you're very clear now about what can go in there and what it serves no purpose for it to go in there. And you see from a very different place, because you're seeing through the higher perceptual primal self, you are being guided by the sacred. And in that way, your garden not only serves you, but it serves us all. So before we go into the journey, anyone would like to say anything about that, of what they're perceiving right now? Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put these calls on mute. Let me know when that's so, Joseph.
All right, you can go ahead. I get it.
Okay. I'm going to ask all of you to center and ground. Center and ground. Let the day's tensions, whatever it was in the day, just let it be set aside. You can pick it up later as you will, but right now, let's just set it aside so it doesn't, nothing you have to carry now. Breathe. Find your breathing. Notice where it is and move it to your center of stillness. In that center of stillness, moving into the center of stillness within you, letting the day fall away, what you have been carrying fall away, as though they are layers, perhaps layers of clothing, putting them all aside. Centered and grounded, Call on your primal self to be with you, the guides who are with you and around you. Ask them to come. To come with you into your cave. In this cave of quiet, this cave of solitude, where there is stillness, this place where you can reflect on what is within you. That which is strong and filled with life eternally and is with you, has always been with you, is with you now and always will be. Knowing that this is the core of your garden, of your foundation. Let your guides, whoever they may be, let them come and show you the many aspects of your garden, that which serves, that which does not, and that which is yet to be. What do they show you? Some guides who will come to guide us on this journey. Elk. She comes. She shows us stamina. She shows us where it is that we have the stamina and where we don't. And she shows us how it is that one can have stamina that is long enduring. Elk, your antlers reach for the sun. Show me that strength and stamina are one. Where is your strength? What has it served this year? What has it served in the past? What is it showing you now, Elk? The strength and the stamina within you. Mountain lion. Mountain lion shows us where we are a leader, the guide, the one who can walk and help others to walk as well. How is it that being the one who is the leader, this is the teacher, how is this one in the front? Where is this within you? Where have you been a leader? Where have you been at the front of the pack? The one who sat in the front. And when has it not? When has that been given to you and you haven't done it? Or perhaps it is that you have, but have done it through a way that has been less gentle and more harsh. Have you shrunk away from being put in the front? Have you stepped up and clearly honored all, knowing that a leader is just simply an equal and important aspect in the wheel of life. Possum comes. Possum shows us the way that we can see, how we can be visible in the world. Are we visible in a way that helps you and others to see that they can clearly, you and all others can be clearly what they are, revealing themselves clearly? Or has it been a way to distract, to divert others' attentions from you? Have a look at this. For these are all seeds you can plant in your new garden. Rabbit. Rabbit is one that shows us about fear. Rabbit is one that can sit on its haunches in a field of grass, and you won't even know it's there, but it won't go anywhere. Yet rabbit also shows us that when you feel the fear, get moving. Lizard comes now. Lizard. The dreamer. Lizard is the one that shows us that our dreams can be manifested into physical reality. So what dreams have you had that are not manifested? What's in the way of them? What is manifesting? What dreams are actually coming to be now? See this. So with these all in your garden and with you, and with your own guides in your primal self, what do you see now? Center and ground. Return now to your current body, time and place, knowing that all these guides are with you. They are staying with you. They are with you. They remain with you. Thanking them all, gifting them, and returning here fully into this place, into your place and your time, in your current body. You can open the phones, Joseph. Let me know when they are.
All right.
Okay. Okay, folks. Okay, folks. What have you seen? What did you come to know? Anyone like to bring out what they've come to see? Keeping noises in the background very quiet, please. What did you see? Because, of course, Bear is with you when you hibernate. So what do you know? What do you know now? Anyone would like to say anything about what he or she experienced?
Well, my Native American
Yes, go ahead.
My Native American guides were with me in the cave, and we were meditating around a campfire. Then I felt myself surrounded by a very warm and comforting bear skin. When you mentioned the rabbit, I could see the rabbit looking down two roads and then very instinctively ran down very rapidly down the what I call the road less traveled. So, I also saw a Aztec warrior medicine man just dancing.
And what did they all show you? What did what do you now know? The core of all what they have shown you. What have they shown you?
Well, they've shown me that they're with me to support me in my walk with God, and that they will continue to guide me to be the peaceful warrior on the road less traveled.
Okay. Yes, when we journey and the guides come and the guidance comes from many places, they always come with a story, a beautiful symbols, the gift of all showing us that way in many different ways. So it is for us to discern what was in that symbol. What was that symbol about? What is it that they brought? What is it for me to see? What do I know now? Because in this way we come to learn how to read the language of guidance. And we do that through perception. So yes. How about the rest of you? Anyone else?
Well, I think I might have just floated away. I've been fighting a little bit of a headache, but towards the end of it, I tried to visualize all the animals, and towards the end of it, I just saw it was like I was looking down into almost many hands and just a glowing fire, and just a sense of many, many hands in over the fire, and it almost was like, well, what is this now? Is this like a blacksmith shop or something? It was almost a sense of a factory or something. But then, as I looked down more, it was just, kind of people on their haunches almost and their hands out.
And what was that? What did you perceive what that was about?
I think it's about working together.
Yeah. Never feel that you drifted away or you weren't right with us or whatever is being given. You're doing what you're meant to do.
Okay.
It's perfect, always perfect in the way one journeys. So never worry about that. You did it perfect the way you were meant to. That was good. Okay. Very, very good. Anyone else before we move on?
I felt very strongly the presence of the elk and the message of the stamina, reminding me of the stamina that I have sometimes forgotten. I sometimes forget or don't feel, but internally know that I have incredible stamina. And a bright, like a bright horizon opened up, and there were little children, and then there was a path that led to I don't know what, but a very bright, and I felt a lot of activity with the other guides. They were, kind of saying, okay, come on, get going. do it.
Okay. So you're coming to Peru with us this year, right, Kathy? You're coming up to Salcantay with us. Okay, well, I'll put your name on the list now. Okay, no problem. Okay. Very good. Wonderful, folks. Wonderful, folks. Let me tell you something about what feeds your garden. Because you see, your garden is not only your own personal garden. This is the garden of the Pachamama. When one perceives the garden, we see it as one. In many colors, in many shapes, but it is one garden. So what you're planting in your garden, the roots of those plants connect with roots all over the world of other plants. How about that, folks? Now let me tell you something about the very necessary, essential ingredient to feed the plants in your garden. That's the sacred, that's magic. I have to tell you, it's real in the world. I'm going to tell you about something that happened on Friday. And Joseph, you can mute the phones there for a moment.
All right.
Let me know.
You can go ahead.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
On Friday, earlier in the day, there was a lot of chaos. And my physical lower self was just not happy about a lot of things. So I called out to the sacred ones of light, to the sacred angels of light, and said, okay, enough already. Enough. There must be a community where we must come together, kindred spirits, kindred people that can come together, whether we're just sitting and having a cup of coffee together or we're in deep sacred ceremony, that we are one. So a few minutes later, I got to look up something on the computer, and I did. And that very evening, what did I find? A shamanic meditation drumming circle in the local area. Never saw it before, and there it was. And it was being held and run by an Ecuadorian shaman. Needless to say, I went. I walked in the door, and when I saw him, I knew, yes. I walked in, I introduced myself, just my name, and, just been working in Peru and all that. And we all sat down, nice room of people. And he said hello to people that often come, evidently, and welcome new people. And then he said, Fran is a shaman as well. I hadn't told him anything, but he saw it. He knew it. He did a drumming meditation journey, and it was very wonderful. And we know that we're going to be working together. This all happened initially within 15 minutes. Believe. Folks, go beyond just believe. Believe, trust, know, be. And in that way, the magic comes into your garden and feeds it. This is what we talk about. So look into your garden. While you have order, which is necessary and essential, is it too ordered so that there's no flow? There has to be, or not enough flow. It has to flow. Feed it, water it with delight. with outrageousness, with the wild primal that you are, with love, with gratitude, with compassion, with thoughtfulness, mindfulness, laughter, smiles, kindness, all of it. Let's feed it, water it. And in that way, those roots of your garden, as they connect with roots of gardens all over, because the garden is one, perceive just what that can do. Just what can that do? So even now, I feel the mountains. They have something that they would like to say. They say that they would like you to journey to them. I'm going to ask you to center and ground. Once again, in your center of stillness. Seiki Hatun Wilke Apupunya. We feel you. Giving us the guidance, guiding us to the caves that are within you, within your heights. Showing us where they are. Within ourselves, within you. Hapu Apupunya. Hapu Apupunya. Society. Hatin Wilka Apu House and Gate. Hatin Wilka Apu Sandai. Hatin Wilka Apu Ilamane. Hatin Wilka Apu Astarang. 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 Asuka Apula Woman. Sila Woman. Sila Woman. Sila Woman. Healing. Hapu Song. Hapu Secret. Hapu Machu Picchu. Ana Picchu Buddha Guse. Savana Vika Hatsuka Hatsusan Achuvapu Mama Simona Achuvapu Ebola. Sulpaki, Hapunuka, Hapukunya. Hapunuka. Beautiful. Hachi, Mama Kila. Unjai, Unjai, Sunday. Moonlight, moonlight, moonlight. Sulpaki. Entering ground, returning to your current time and place, your physical bodies. Fully return, fully be in your current time and place now. Breathe. Can open the phones, Joseph? Tell me when they're open.
All right. There we go.
Okay, folks. Center and ground. Be fully in your bodies now. Where you are. The current time and place that you are now, fully grounded, refreshed, ready now. What have you come to know now about this hibernation and coming into new life in the spring? Anyone?
The sense of ageless, the sense of just the mountains as ageless, eternal, rooted, as you were talking about, rooted like unbelievably rooted and clear, and to bring that sense into the garden. That's
okay. Careful about noises behind you, folks. Yes.
That clarity and that eternalness and that extensive rootedness that brings such peace.
Yes. Can't knock over a mountain.
No.
Yeah. Anyone else? in the winter months, it can feel like, when is there ever going to be spring? When is there ever, even though we know, of course, that it will be not all that far away, it can feel like it's very far away. And there can be a feeling of being insulated and isolated. But you see, when we know this, we perceive in this way, this hibernation isn't about it's not about being solitary and isolated and insulated. It's about quiet solitude and bringing forth new life. So in this way, we can be in a place of quiet joy and knowing that life indeed is being delightfully birthed or will be birthing. So what about the rest of you?
I had a vision of exploring more of my earthly and my celestial roots.
Okay, so that you're all finding seeds to place and put in your gardens. Well beyond what you have known. These are all new. Very good. Anyone else?
Just brings to mind, just even with the changing of the seasons itself, for me it feels like every time a new season approaches, say from winter to spring, it feels like the first spring I've ever felt, and every summer's the first summer I've ever felt, and every fall's the first fall I've ever felt, and every winter, it's just so different, so quickly, and things change so fastly, and I like winter, and I like spring too a lot better, but yeah, that's what it brought up.
Very good. Excellent. So feeding newness, if you will, into your garden. The feeling of the original, the first time, the source. Excellent. How about the rest of you? Anyone else? What about that magic that happened with me on Friday? How about that?
That's kind of like ask and you shall receive, sort of a thing, right? I think. And
exactly that. Exactly that.
Which is great. And you followed your true feeling, which was okay. Love at it. Let's help me find something here that's gonna give me that sense of community and give me what I need, and you follow that impulse, and it's sincere, and that's when the magic happens, which is great.
That's right. And how often has it been that something like that does happen, but the lower self gets in the way and gives you 62 reasons not to do it? Yeah. Well, it was not even the vestige of a thought not to. Just exactly that. I asked, I received. And not only did I receive, I accepted. I will tell you about the place for any of you who are in central New Jersey. It's a place called Pure Light in Highland Park. And on Friday evenings, he has this every Friday evening. So if any of you are wanting to go, I would highly recommend it. And you can know I'll be there. You can know I'll be there. Huh? I'm sorry?
Pure Light in Highland Park, it is?
Correct.
Highland Park. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yeah. And you, like I say, you know I'll be there, weather permitting. So this is what it's about, of getting clear, of seeing deeper than you have ever seen before, looking through the eyes of your higher perceptual primal self, going well out of the personal, going way out of the comfort safety zones, looking into places that you didn't even know you intuitively knew was there, but never looked before. Look now. See. I see you. So what is this all saying to you, folks? What are you seeing in your caves? What's there? What's on the walls? What's being drawn on the walls, on the ceilings, on the ground? What do you see? Who's there? Who's guiding you? What are they giving you? And see, when we look at, as said before, when a guidance comes to us, it's pure, it's clean, it's intact. When we journey and whatever guidance comes in the symbols, we go beyond the story of it. What we cut right to the core. One might say, I saw a fire. Okay, what was that fire? It is the divine spark, the sacred spark within me. That's the core. That's not the story of what the fire was about. If that makes it clearer for you. So anyone want to say more about this?
I would like to say something relating to in that journey where I saw, heading out of the cave into the bright light, which just now, as you were speaking, becoming visible in the light. I had an experience last week where I went to a class, the class on herbal medicine, and there were 8 or so other people there. And I realized when I left the class that I wasn't visible. Me, the real me, the true me, mm-hmm. the core me, mm-hmm. That mm-hmm. I was not at all visible to the people in the class, which surprised me in a way, but I know it shouldn't really surprise me. So mm-hmm. the message in the journey is to become visible. Mm-hmm. To go into the light, to be in the light, and mm-hmm. to be visible. Because I clearly saw in actual, perceptual that I was not visible, mm-hmm. which mm-hmm. was shocking in a way, mm-hmm. but very useful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You see, as long as we are in human bodies, even if you've cleaned out the whole house and you've gotten right down to the floorboard, it may be something that's just on the floor. Everything else is clean. Now look at the floor. Is there a stain? Is there something that's still on the floor? And that's what you work with now. Mm. You see? And as long we're all human, and we're going to be that at least for the rest of this life, but we do get better at it, and that's by being more and more and more conscious. And this is where the lower self is going to step in and go, "Yikes! Really? I really have to do that?" And this is where we have to step up and say, "Yes. Yeah, that is unpleasant to look at. It's downright ugly, and I know you don't want to accept that it is yours, but look at it anyway because it is, and clean it up now. That keeps it simple, and there's no story around it. Mm-hmm. There's no guilt, there's no story, there's no any of that chattering around it. There's nothing that feels weighty or heavy about it. It's just simply, yeah. Yeah, that's an old, ugly stain on that floor. But it's there, and I see it's here. And now, show me what to do. And you'll get the guidance, and that clean place is now replacing the stain on the floor. It's only when you work at it that's when stories come a-running. We all are. We're all human. No one, anybody who says they've got it all done, they're clean, and they don't have to do any more work, run in the other direction. Really, really. Now, why would I say that about someone who's saying that he or she has cleaned it all up and they're all clean now? They don't have any more work they have to do.
Well, I would say that's a personal engagement in itself. They're sourcing through the personal construct of, it's all about me and I'm this, and that's what I would say at least. Yeah, that'd be right there. Yeah. And to elaborate a little further, at the core, it's just energy, and it's energy and me and you and everyone else. It doesn't have to be, that kind of engagement for,
If it is that, yeah, if you meet someone who is coming from that place, you are conscious, so you're going to see that person. You're going to see that person. It's your choice to engage or not. And if you do, you choose the kind of engagement that you will have. Not what that person will do, but what you will. And that way it takes all the personal out of it. Because if you engage that person about trying to fix that person or showing that person that's not true or any of that, it's become a personal engagement, and it will not resolve. That ancient saying, expression I've said before, from the times when people carried swords, was, you don't press the point of your argument, you present the side. And that way nobody gets hurt. And that's very true. It's very, very true. So anything more about this before I go on to what we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks? Okay. We talked about this in the last, I think in a couple maybe before that, is that we're going to be having calls that are separate from the Monday night Calls of Creation calls. And these will be specifically on each of the journeys to Peru and Canyon de Chelly and to each of our workshops. So we're going to be, Joseph and I will have a conversation sometime this week about setting up the first of those calls. And, of course, you'll all be notified about them, about the journeys to Peru this year, about the workshops, energetic weavers, quintessence, the natural way of women, higher ground, conscious knowledge training, to Peru, the woman's journey to Apu Salkantai, the journey to Apu Asingate, the journeys to the Amazon and the Sacred Valley, the journey to Nazca, the North Coast, and Pachamama. And then the one at the end of the year. This is the crown of the year, if you will. Of course, they're all equal, but this one takes us into deeper, higher, truly otherworldly places, because this is the journey where we go to places that have been known to be portals. Amaru Maru being one of them. These are well-known places in Peru where there's been sightings of star beings, and the people know what they are, and we are going to be going to those places over the New Year's. So we're going to have calls that are for each and every one of these. Is any of that of interest to any of you?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Well, folks, then what we're going to do now, I will ask you to mute the phones one more time, because we're going to give our thanks to the sacred ones of light, to the sacred guides of light, the mountains, before we complete the call for the evening. So I'm going to ask you to close the phones for a moment.
All right, you can go ahead.
Mute them. So, Psyche, Hapun Wilka, Rita Kocha, Hapun Wilka, Pachamama, Hapun Wilka, Mamikila, Hapun Wilka, Apupunya, Hapun Wilka, Punchai, Hapun Wilka, Munai, Hapun Wilka, Conchai, Hapun Wilka, Samai. We thank you who are the sacred ones of light, for your guidance this night and showing us the ways into the caves within us, and to know that these are places of solitude, not isolation, that we are not solitary when we are within these caves, where we have the sacred guides of light, primal selves within ourselves, with us, that you are with us, you who are the light. We thank you. We ask that you keep us all, help us to keep all safe, that we are one, helping all to realize how seriously vital it is that we must come together in the one that we are now, to get all done. We thank you. So you can turn on the phones one more time, Joseph, please. Okay. Okay, folks, thank you. We'll see you next week, and we will let you know about when those special calls are going to be. If anyone has anything they'd like to say before we do ring off this evening. And we thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.